Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, just like any other day. You stretch, maybe let out a yawn, and instinctively begin your usual routine, the very same sequence of actions you've probably followed for years, perhaps even decades. What if I told you that this familiar, comforting ritual, the one you never give a second thought to, might be quietly and consistently setting you up for one of the most terrifying and devastating health crises an older adult can face? A stroke? It's a truly chilling thought, isn't it? The overwhelming majority of older adults in America, and indeed around the world, never suspect this insidious danger. We've been conditioned to believe that strokes are sudden, unpredictable events, striking like lightning out of a clear blue sky, leaving no time for warnings, no opportunity for prevention. We often assume they are a cruel twist of fate beyond our control. However, after decades of dedicated study and clinical practice focused on the aging brain, I can unequivocally tell you a profoundly different and critical truth. The earliest and most significant warnings, the moments when your brain is most at risk, do not begin in a sterile hospital room or during a dramatic medical emergency. They start much closer to home, far more intimately. They begin, surprisingly, right in your bedroom, your kitchen, and your bathroom, within the very first crucial hour after your eyes open each morning. This specific window of time is not just any part of your day, it's a period of unique physiological vulnerability, especially for individuals over the age of 60. During these critical first 60 minutes, your body undergoes significant internal shifts. Your blood is naturally thicker from overnight dehydration, your blood pressure is typically beginning its daily rise, and your vital blood vessels are generally stiffer and less adaptable than they were in your younger years. Your brain is truly in its most fragile state of the entire day. It is precisely during this delicate, vulnerable period that certain common, seemingly innocuous habits can silently and dangerously triple your stroke risk. These are actions you might perform without a second thought, yet they hold enormous power to influence your brain health before you've even had your first sip of coffee. One of the most widespread and yet profoundly underestimated triggers is the seemingly harmless act of drinking coffee immediately after waking up. After a long night without any fluid intake, typically 6 to 8 hours, your body is already in a state of mild dehydration. This isn't just about feeling thirsty. Medically, it increases your blood's viscosity, making it thicker, slower, and heavier. Now, consider what happens when you introduce caffeine, especially on an empty stomach. Caffeine acts as a potent diuretic, meaning it pulls even more water from your system, critically worsening the dehydration you woke up with. This further thickens your already sluggish blood, forcing your heart to pump much harder to circulate it. Simultaneously, caffeine powerfully stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, your body's innate fight or flight response. This creates a sudden, sharp surge in heart rate and blood pressure just minutes after your eyes open. For a healthy 30-year-old, this might not cause much trouble, but for someone over 60 whose arteries are stiffer and whose blood vessels are narrower, this combination creates an extremely dangerous spike that can overwhelm delicate brain vessels. This perfect storm can trigger strokes in several ways. The sudden pressure spike can rupture fragile brain vessels. Thick blood is far more likely to clot, and caffeine's vessel constriction further increases the chance of a clot getting stuck. Furthermore, it deepens the natural morning dip in cerebral perfusion, starving vulnerable brain cells of oxygen. Another incredibly common yet rarely considered habit is sitting too long on the edge of the bed without moving. Many seniors instinctively do this, perhaps for 5, 10, or even 20 minutes, believing it's a gentle way to let their body warm up. However, medically, this quiet stillness is anything but harmless for adults over 60. When you sleep, blood flow naturally slows and tends to pool in the lower parts of your body. As we age, the veins in our legs lose elasticity and their internal valves weaken, making it significantly harder for this stagnant blood to efficiently rise back toward the heart and brain. Prolonged sitting after waking prevents this essential upward flow. The blood that pooled overnight continues to stagnate in the legs, creating a dangerous mismatch. Thick, slow-moving blood trapped below, while your brain desperately waits for oxygen and nutrients after hours of rest. This undercirculation is a significant risk factor. This prolonged stillness contributes to strokes in two key ways. It can cause blood pressure to spike as the heart struggles to compensate, potentially rupturing fragile brain vessels, and crucially, stagnant blood is a breeding ground for clot formation. If a clot forms in the legs, a sudden movement can dislodge it, sending it to the brain for a devastating ischemic stroke. If simply sitting still carries such risks, then consider the next habit, rushing to the bathroom the moment you stand up. This is one of the most common and profoundly misunderstood morning habits among older patients, often driven by an urgent need to urinate after holding it overnight. However, for adults over 60, this seemingly simple action initiates one of the most dangerous physiological shifts of the entire day. Moving rapidly from a lying to a standing position causes a sudden drop in blood pressure, known as orthostatic stress, as gravity pulls blood toward the legs, briefly depriving the brain of essential oxygen, often causing dizziness or blurred vision. This vulnerability is acutely compounded in the bathroom. The act of straining to urinate, medically termed the Valsalva maneuver, momentarily increases pressure in the chest and abdomen. This action severely strains the cardiovascular system, forcing your heart and blood vessels to fight against increased internal pressure at an already unstable moment. This dangerous cascade, standing too fast, walking with urgency, and then straining, creates a perfect storm inside the older body. The sudden rise and fall of pressure can rupture fragile brain vessels or destabilize existing plaque. Alarmingly, many early morning strokes occur in or near the bathroom precisely when these rapid shifts take place, and the internal strain further encourages clot formation. Another critical yet often overlooked habit is skipping breakfast or taking morning medications on an empty stomach. After burning through stored glucose overnight to keep the brain functioning, your body wakes up expecting replenishment. However, as we age, the liver becomes less efficient at releasing stored glucose, making older adults far more vulnerable to morning hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. The brain, being the body's most sensitive organ with almost no energy storage capacity, suffers immediately from this fuel shortage. It perceives low blood sugar as a threat, triggering the release of powerful stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This hormonal surge tightens blood vessels, causing blood pressure to rise sharply and unpredictably. This response also alters platelet activity and thickens blood consistency, creating an environment where blood is significantly more prone to clotting. This is why skipping breakfast is directly linked to a higher risk of ischemic stroke in seniors, as clots can easily form and travel to the brain amidst unstable circulation. Furthermore, taking many vital medications, such as blood pressure pills, diabetes medication, or anticoagulants on an empty stomach can be extremely dangerous. Without food to slow absorption, these drugs can hit the bloodstream too quickly, leading to sudden drastic drops in pressure or sharp fluctuations that destabilize circulation, leaving the brain unprotected. Perhaps one of the most subtly destructive and increasingly prevalent habits is starting the day with stress, immediately checking the news, emails, or social media. While it feels like merely checking in or staying informed, to an aging nervous system, this is a shock, a jolt of psychological stress delivered at a critically vulnerable time. Your body naturally experiences a cortisol surge in the early morning hours, which helps you wake up. In older adults, this peak is often higher and lasts longer, layering immediate emotional stress, fear, frustration, worry from headlines or messages on top of this already heightened physiological stress creates an exceedingly dangerous combination. This leads to powerful spikes in blood pressure, constriction of already stiff blood vessels, an increased workload for the heart, and a dangerous immediate drop in blood flow to critical areas of the brain. This stress storm also makes blood stickier and activates platelets, significantly increasing the likelihood of clot formation and stroke as the brain struggles to process such stimulation and pressure. Ignoring morning blood pressure checks is a silent danger that cannot be overstated. Blood pressure is often at its highest volatility and peak during the early morning hours, a phenomenon known as the dawn phenomenon. Unchecked morning hypertension is one of the strongest predictors of stroke, yet millions of seniors never measure it. Without measuring your morning pressure, your brain remains unknowingly unprotected during its most unstable period. This lack of awareness can lead to silent micro-infarcts, tiny strokes that accumulate over years, contributing to memory decline, slower thinking, and balance problems. Or it can culminate in a major, devastating vascular event. Finally, spending the entire first hour of the morning sitting completely still is profoundly risky. This extended stillness prevents the critical calf muscle pump action, which is essential for pushing blood back toward the heart. As a result, blood continues to stagnate and thicken in the legs, while the brain remains starved of vital oxygen. This prolonged morning stillness creates an internal traffic jam, where sluggish blood below meets an undersupplied brain above. This dramatically increases both the risk of dangerous clot formation in the legs, which can then travel to the brain, and the likelihood of a stroke due to compromised cerebral perfusion during this most vulnerable period. These 7 morning habits are not abstract theories. They are real, measurable physiological threats that slowly, insidiously push the aging brain toward danger. They involve rushing your body when it needs stability, starving your brain when it craves fuel, flooding your system with stress when it cries out for calm, and allowing stillness to harden into dangerous stagnation when your blood demands movement. But there is immense hope, because the very same habits that harm you are precisely the ones you have the power to change. Not with difficulty, not with great expense, but with simple awareness, conscious intention, and a quiet willingness to respect the physiological realities of an older body instead of forcing it into the demanding routine of a younger one. A glass of warm water before anything else. A minute of gentle motion before standing. A peaceful mind instead of a stressful headline. A bite of nourishment instead of an empty stomach. A crucial blood pressure reading instead of a dangerous guess. A few intentional steps instead of prolonged stillness. These small adjustments are not minor, they are potent medicine. They are protection, they are longevity in its purest, most accessible form. The longer I practice, the more convinced I become that the profound difference between a life tragically altered by stroke and a life lived fully, vibrantly, and independently often comes down to the choices made in these quiet, critical morning moments, long before any symptoms ever appear. Your brain is asking for your attention. Your body is asking for your compassion. And your future self is asking you to act now, while you still possess the incredible power to change the path ahead. Because if your mornings can quietly increase your risk, imagine how powerfully they can protect you once you finally begin treating them with the profound respect your age, your brain, and your precious life so richly deserve.